Sounds up. I'm going to call to order the town meeting for the month of April. If we could all please rise for the invocation by Brother Taylor.
Dear kind of Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for your love. And Lord, we pray that we all will be more loving, Lord, especially as this fourth season gets ready to start up, Lord. And may we be welcoming to a place that you've given us to live year-round, Lord. And may we share it with people, Lord, and make them feel welcome in this community, Lord, so they'll come back, Lord. And Lord, we praise you and thank you for all you do, Lord. We certainly pray for all of our employees, Lord, Lord, especially the EMTs, Lord, and the police department, Lord. Please place a hedge of protection, because every day they don't know what they're walking into, Lord. But Lord, we just pray especially a hedge of protection over them, Lord, and all of our employees, Lord. And Lord, they make the town what it is, Lord. And Lord, you give us a great place, Lord, and Lord, they've taken care of it enough to where people want to come and visit. Lord, we pray for our military, Lord, and Lord, we pray for our whole world, Lord. And Lord, like I say, we just learn to love one another. We don't have to worry about bombing each other and nuclear weapons and all that stuff. We respect and show love for one another, Lord. And Lord, as we take up things tonight, Lord, may we do it in a way that's pleasing to you. And Lord, please guide and direct each and every one of us. For we ask these things in Jesus' precious name and for his sake, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was going to cancel tonight, say it's April Fool's, but won't do that. Anyhow, welcome. Just got one. All right. I need a motion to accept remote participation.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Is Chris on there? Or do I have to hit Chris bot?
You should be able to hear us now.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Chris.
Turn your mic. Turn.
There you go. Chris.
Say aye.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. On a little delay. Good, we got you.
All right, I got you.
All right. For public comment, Ms. Shotwell.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a quick thank you all. I just want to give you a little update on the Easter Decoy Show this past weekend. We had record attendance. We had the highest attendance for the 2 days since 2003 and the highest Friday attendance in the record keeping since I've been there, 2001. I don't know what happened before 2001, but since I've been there, the highest Friday attendance in that whole time. It was crazy Friday. And I just wanted to bring in this picture, or I sent it to you today.
Yeah.
So I thought you might want to
Nancy
see.
West took it.
I wanted to thank Mayor Leonard for coming and carving the 2 days. It was, the kids enjoyed it, and that's just a picture of, I think, 3 little girls, a family, and there were several of those moments where we had boys, girls, whatever, children sitting at his feet with him carving. So it was just really, really special. And everybody just really loved it. We had some great singers there on Friday. We had, just some different things throughout we had kids' crafts out in the hall and painting horseshoes and things like that. The drill team was there. So just a good show. I just wanted to thank you all. We had close to 75 exhibitors, and they were all they had a great time. They had a great sale weekend. There were a lot of things walking out of there. People were buying. So just wanted to give you all an update on the show, and thank you all for allowing us to have it and helping us out with it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. There was a lot of people. Holy cow. It looked like they bust them in on Friday. Oh,
Well, we did some TV advertising up over in Hampton Roads because we knew with Easter being early, it's not always a great attendance. Attendance is usually down a little bit. So we did a lot of extra advertising in Delaware, Maryland, and Hampton.
Good work. Thank you much. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Staff reports, general government, Mr. Talbot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Give you a quick report on a few of the grants we haven't talked about lately. The Septic Local Partners program is, I think we've announced already. It's given to us by the DEQ. The funding levels for this, and this is goes to replace failing septic systems at residences. The funding levels are either 50% or 100%, depending on the applicant's income. And last week I was contacted by the director of the program, who asked if we'd like another $162,000 for this, and I said sure. What do we need to do? And I signed the paper, and we've got it. So the total value of that grant now stands at $912,390.25. All to be used toward the repair of failing residential septic systems. The awardees will be selected by a committee. I'll get I'm almost done with the application, and we'll be getting an advertisement out, probably in the newspaper, Facebook, website, and everything this month, and get started on that. Very excited about that. I think it will be a big response to that program. VMRC, in March, the town was awarded $60,000 by the VMRC to get rid of some abandoned derelict vessels that we have around the island. I've already submitted the vessels I thought we had, and we've got a few budget prices from local contractors. We will be going out for official bids on that in the next few weeks to get official prices, as we're required to by the grant, and get that in motion. DCR, the town of Chincoteague was awarded a grant by the Department of Conservation and Recreation through their Community Flood Preparedness Fund. The project, and we applied for this back in November. It was a whole story, but in any event, we got it. The project will develop and adopt a resilience plan for the town and build regional resilience capacity through training and education. It's a $65,000 grant, and as we'll be working with ODU and the Institute of Coastal Adaptation and Resilience at ODU to get this plan done. Moving on, the vessel Murden, the dredge Murden from the Army Corps of Engineers was here a couple weeks ago. They spent 7 days dredging the channel. The channel's maintained between -9 and -12 feet. And they were given a specific scope of work to dredge certain areas and priorities in certain areas, and given 7 days to get it done. From my understanding, they got it all done. Vernon keeps a close eye on that. They also dredged the mouth of the harbor, which is done usually every time they're here. They take care of that for us. The trolley, the name of the trolley survey was completed on March 22nd. All 13 classes at the elementary school participated. They were given 5 names to choose from, and they all voted. The names were Phantom, Pied Piper, Phantom Wings, Thunder, and Sandpiper. All were names of famous Chincoteague ponies. Of the 13 classes that participated at CES, Thunder was the clear winner, getting 109 of the 219 votes, almost half. I won't go through the distribution, but I do have a distribution by class if you're interested. So we would propose the name Thunder for the new trolley that we just took possession of last fall. And the existing trolley Pied Piper will be retiring, which is the reason we put that name back in the hat for selection. Pied Piper is the trolley that we intend to purchase this year. The town intends to purchase this year, and by purchasing that, we'll be able to use it for events which DRPT currently does not allow using grant funds. We're excited about that. We think it'll get a lot of use. The trolley service, regular trolley service, will start again on May 3rd, and they'll be in business for the Seafood Festival as well. Meals and transient, you can see meals taxes were slightly up, and TOT was down considerably for the month of February, and this is March collections was February activity, and this is year over year. Although we were down in transient occupancy tax for the month of February, you can see that we've already exceeded our budgeted revenues of $2 million in that category, and I think I said by May, make sure I don't want to lie to myself, like I said, by May, we should be exceeding meals revenues, 100% of the budgeted meals revenues as well. Ocean Breeze. Some of you are familiar with this, but Ocean Breeze, the residents in Ocean Breeze have not gotten mail delivery now for several years. They've been required to actually visit the post office downtown to pick up their mail across the counter. We were made aware of this, or I was made aware of this a few years ago by a member of the Ocean Breeze community. They used to have some cluster boxes down there that for one reason or another are no longer there. So we went to bat for them as best we could, even involving some U.S. Congress members. And long story short, we made a deal with the post office manager for the state of Virginia that if they would supply the boxes, we would install and find a place to install them. We found a place. It's roped off. And 2 weeks ago, the boxes showed up. This is what they look like. By the way, the Virginia postal manager told me that the U.S. Postal Service paid almost $100,000 for these 16 boxes.
Good Lord.
It was and after getting a look at them, they're substantial. They're very substantial. They're not like these little boxes you see around. In any event, Wes and I have already identified an area in Ocean Breeze that give them a pull-off. They'll be put on a concrete pad and bolted down, and we're also going to install a light overhead so folks picking up their mail don't have to do it in the dark. And that should be a big help to the Ocean Breeze community, and a long time coming after a couple of years. Looking at the financial report, nothing new to report. We're still on track to make our budget. It should be no problem. May even have a small surplus at the end of the day. No anomalies other than the ones we've already reported. Building and zoning. Mark reports doing 26 building permits in the month of March. And for a total value of building construction of $315,000, and the total permit fees collected were $2,300. Kind of a down month, but I'll expect with the weather improving that'll pick up considerably. That house, by the way, is one that was currently being built on Woodland Drive, if you're interested. And there's a chart of the existing permits that were issued for the month of March. The first one on there happens to be my house, by the way. If you're wondering if I got a permit, I did. That's the public side of it, and that's all I have for now. I do want to, after Wes reads his, I do have a comment after Wes finishes his report, but I'll answer questions if anybody has any.
Anybody? Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Next up is police, Chief Greenlee.
All right, so on March 7th, our agency received our third award for reaccreditation. The commission met here in the council chambers where the award was presented to myself and accreditation manager Lewis. We continue to be the only accredited law enforcement agency on Virginia's Eastern Shore, something to be proud of. It's easy to say that, you know, Amy and I were the only ones here, we accepted the award, but really it's a buy-in from everybody. And it's everybody's award over there. It's not just ours. You know, those guys do a great job and everybody buys in. On March the 11th through the 15th, myself, Jeff Stevens, and Doug Barnes all attended in-service training at the Bay Bridge and Tunnel. Every 2 years we have to have 40 hours of training in order to be recertified. So all three of us are recertified for another 2 years. On the 23rd, myself and both of our SROs, John Carmody and Gino, we represented and promoted our agency at the local job fair. We didn't get any applications, but I don't think the sheriff's office did either, so that's a win. But we're going to stay after it, and June 4th, I think, is the next one we're going to attend, and that's going to be at the community college. So we're hoping for some results there. On the 26th, Michelle Adams attended a class on community policing data collection at the Newport News Police Department. 2 years ago, legislation passed, and we have to start collecting data on every vehicle stop that we make. And they're changing the whole format, how the data is submitted and logged. So that's what that class was about, and it's Michelle's collateral responsibility to submit it. She does a good job with it, so was a very informative and needed training that she had to attend. And on the 28th, Corporal Butler attended a class on accreditation management in Lynchburg, Virginia, that was hosted by Valepsi. That's all I've got.
Any questions for the chief?
Yeah, that on that community policing data collection, they make it so when you stop a car that you would actually want to give them a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Does that push you there?
Not necessarily. It does have a section in there where you have to say what you charge them with. It's got race, gender, reason for the stop. Did you search them? Did you make an arrest? Et cetera, et cetera. It's just more paperwork. Essentially, is all it is.
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. You're
Yeah.
really going to want to, instead of say, hey, slow down and give them a kind warning,
Right.
make you go through all this. It's going to make you like, if I'm going to go through all this, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You
No,
know what
I
I'm
understand what you're saying. Yes, sir.
Because a lot of times, got friendly, hey, slow down, you're on vacation. You know?
Yeah, no, I got you.
And like I said, and then you got to go through all that paperwork for,
Right.
I
Yeah,
just-
it's like an extra, 3-4 minutes per traffic stop, just filling out the data.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Thank you, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Next up is Public Works, Parks.
So, no secret that we had a little bit of rain in March. And one of the major things we worked on was some drainage improvements, including Accomack Street and Anamessex. We did others, many more than what I listed here, but the main improvement that we made was in the area of Accomack and Anamessex. And we did so much of that work that we wore out the regulator valve on our jetter. So we purchased a new valve and got that installed, and we're ready to continue on with regular maintenance of the drainage instead of operating in crisis mode, hopefully. Another little project that we had was some maintenance at the old firehouse. We did some power washing and painting, some cleaning. Lights and screens are getting worked on the windows. I'm also waiting on a quote from Accomack Go Glass to fix the front window above the door. It's broken in several places, so waiting on a quote for that. And then we did some work at the ball field down at the park. 5 loads of sand were brought in for the infield and 25 loads of topsoil for the outfield. And got that done, and hopefully all the seed we did seed it, rake it and seed it, and hopefully all that didn't wash away last weekend, but we will see how that goes. We had a couple of days of really nice weather in a row, which was a blessing, and we were able to get some curb painting done. It was not much. It was only a day's worth of cleaning and a day's worth of painting, but it was something to get started on it. So we plan on continuing that as soon as the weather allows us. So we will continue the curbs in April as weather allows. Receiving bids for the spring paving, that is this Friday. We'll receive them, so hopefully very soon we can start our paving for the year or for the spring. Excavator is still getting repaired up at Carter Cat. As soon as we get that back, we're going to go to work on the trail and the exercise equipment at Brianna's Park. So that's about all I've got.
Any questions for Wes?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Back to the ditches. So you've identified other places where you're gonna bore through those underground pipes and stuff? Okay. I know we've had a lot of rain, and definitely you can see stuff floating up and all that stuff, so
Yep.
that's part of all this right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for addressing the trail at Vance Park. I got a friend back here that's very instrumental in that making that happen. It was a very great thing, and everybody come together, everybody. But like I say, we won't get that done. I appreciate. Also, thank you for the ball field. I know that thing, and it's going to be a ball field again. You know what I'm saying? It really is. I mean, it's thing. And Mike, how are we coming on the far as it? We still got a couple bays up there, or unleased?
We have the Ambulance Bay and the Engine Bay right now that are both unleased.
And like I said, I'd like them advertised because that's the best still going and rental business. You know what I'm saying there. I mean, I think put it out there and how much it costs, and I think somebody will grab it in a heartbeat.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
And thank you, Wes.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yep, Mike.
I'd like to read something. We don't often get a lot of thank yous. The Public Works Department does it, but after they finish the drainage work for Accomack Street and Anamessex that Wes was discussing, we've received a couple notes from folks in the neighborhood, and I just wanted to read them real quick. I wanted to give you and your crew big kudos for sorting out the drainage issue on our street. After rains yesterday, Accomack Street was clear and our pond in the backyard drained well, keeping our backyard from flooding. Really appreciate the work and the Public Works crew did. Thank you again. And the other one, just wanted to let you know there has been a significant improvement with the drainage down here. We really appreciate all your guys did down here. Figured you usually only hear bad, so we wanted to make you hear something good.
And Mike, I say something too. They know how to work with people. That's how that happened. Just being able to work with both sides and knowing what the problem is.
And I'll say one more thing. The initial fix to that, we don't have an excavator right now, and Wes didn't want to take a piece of equipment down there and tear some stuff up, so the guys dug it by hand, fixed the original piece, and they jumped in and did it.
And since we're all talking about Public Works, I had to interact with Public Works the other day. I bored into a water line. First things first, I called the town because I didn't think there was a water line there. Sure enough, I hit it. Called the water guys. They came up. Luckily for me, it was not the town's. So, but they dug it by hand. I mean, they were down there on the spot. Shut it off and said, "It's your problem now. Bye." So got it repaired, and horses have water again. It's my problem.
But he's saying that as a compliment, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I probably
It was
should say that as
definitely a compliment because they
He said
were.
it as a compliment.
It didn't take them, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes to get up there. So, and it was after 5 o'clock, so they were off. Anyway, last but not least, you're up, Mr. Rush. We got an audience tonight.
Well, I told them that the council was giving out $50 savings bonds tonight. April Fools!
You lied to them.
You brought the circus to town.
There we go. All right, so good evening. As you can see, there was a little change from our report that you received last week, since we had a few more days we added to the end of the month. 12 more than last year. So again, keep it on pace with what you're seeing in town, more folks. And another thing that we're seeing is our mean age that we're dealing with now is like 65 to 85. So I think a lot of your snowbirds that got out of here in the wintertime either can't afford to get out of here in the wintertime or are unhealthy enough that they can't get out of here in the wintertime. So, that might be attributing to some of our more call volume. So something that we'll keep an eye on, but again, 12 more than last March. Boom, there we go. So you see that? That's the new ambulance. Believe it or not, it's in the house. It's actually been on some calls.
Actually parked outside.
So it's here. Yeah, it was parked outside earlier today. It's had some paint work done to it to make it all nice and shiny and hopefully keep some of the bugs and tar and stuff like that off of it. But some of our new hires, actually 3 of the 4 are here tonight, and I would like to introduce them, and I'll have them stand up as I call them out. So Miss Jean Baker, she comes to us and joined C Shift with Patty and Tom. So she's out there helping us out. She's an advanced provider, and she has aspirations to one day to become a paramedic. So we're hoping that we can make that happen. But being in our first 3 weeks here, I think she's seen quite a mix of what we see here on Chincoteague. Again, that elderly population. But now that it's beginning to turn to spring and we're warming up, we're going to start seeing our trauma and stuff like that. So we're trying to take it easy on them here these first few weeks. We don't want to run them off. Thanks, Jean. Behind Jean is Rose Dives. Rose comes to us as an EMT, and again, we brought her on to D Shift with Ashley and Alexis. So again, she's starting to see a mix of folks, and from not being right here from the area, learning folks. I mean, we all know Chincoteague is a close-knit community, and we strive to keep that close knitness when we deliver the care, because they are the end customer. And so we want to give them the best experience that we can. So getting our new hires to understand who the folks are, and again, part of the reason why I had them here tonight, want them to know who their bosses are, okay? So, thankfully, we don't have much interaction, but there could be that one day where, unfortunately, you might need us. So, again, I kind of want them to know who you are before they come up there and, kick you and, hey, are you all right, type of thing. So, thanks, Fred. And then we have Stephen Wilson, who's joined us on A shift with the clowns. Steve comes to us as an advanced. He's in paramedic school right now, and by the end of the year, he should be a full-fledged paramedic. So that's something we're going to work to as well. Some of you might recognize Stephen. If you do, you can ask me later, and I can confirm your suspicions or not. I know you know. Thank you, Stephen. And then, I did fail to mention Rose. She's all about wanting to get to paramedic. So again, we've got people that want to strive, that want to get better. And with this, we've been maintaining our 4-person staffing model now since March the 10th. So it's been a really good thing. It's working. It's doing what we need it to do. So we're going to keep making it work and then move through our busy season, and that should really give us a good overall indication of what we're doing is right, and we can continue to move forward. We haven't hired any additional part-timers because the part-timers that we do have working in that 4th slot are working in that 4th slot. So, this seems to be the fix that we needed. So, again, I commend all of you for being part of that solution. So we did some obstetrics training in March. As you can see, one more push. I don't know if I like that or not. I'm good with babies staying in place until we get them to the hospital. That's what the OB docs get paid a lot of money for. But this individual, she's a licensed midwife within the Commonwealth, works down at Riverside Shore. And so she brought a lot of good things that, 34 years in the business that I hadn't heard of when it comes to obstetrics. And it was some really good stuff, especially on the emergency side of the house with some difficult deliveries. Actually made me feel a little more comfortable if and when that opportunity arises again. Our new hires, of course, have been going through their training, and one of the trainings that we did is the rope gun that we were able to purchase off of a grant a few years ago through the Virginia Municipal League in order to help police, our folks, fire folks, in the event that we needed to deploy a rope more purposefully during drowning or near drowning scenarios. So again, going through that training because we all know what time it is. It's getting ready to be water time again, so we want to make sure we're proficient. So on the emergency management side of the house, we're still doing that weather monitoring, which as of late has been windy and rainy. That's been pretty easy, but I think we've gotten out of that drought thing that everybody talked about. If not, send them my way. I'll convince them. We're looking into the APEP launch, which is the Atmospheric Perturbations Around Eclipse Path launch. Say that real fast many times. So what that launch is going to do is look at what the moon passing in front of the sun does to the ionosphere. So difference in temperatures and so forth. So there's 3 rockets that are scheduled to launch around 2:15 on the 8th, and they'll go about 45 minutes apart. So the whole idea is to kind of catch the beginning, the dead center, and then the ending of it, just to get some scientific data. And then still participating in the Regional Catastrophic Planning Exercise Work Group that I told you about last month, where Maryland got a bunch of money from FEMA to do an exercise. And so we're working together to try to make sure we get the most bang for our buck out of all the agencies. I'll say it again, and I've said it many times before, but now's the time to prepare. When the sun's shining, make sure you have your water. Make sure you know where your insurance paperwork's at. Don't forget your pets. Make sure you have their supplies, medicine, things like that. Again, don't wait until the storm's bearing down before you prepare. And it could be anything. There's severe weather. Thankfully, we don't get as many tornadoes and things like that in this area. However, it could always happen. You want to be prepared. What if we had a power grid failure that lasted for weeks? could happen. It's real. So I know everybody wants to put it off. Everything's expensive, but try to buy you a few cans of non-perishable foods when you go to the grocery store next time. Just a couple cans, maybe a gallon of water to store in a closet somewhere. So in summary, EMS calls are above March of last year. New ambulance is in service. The new hires, as you met 3 of them here tonight, Paul was unable to be with us. They've completed most of their competency check-offs, if not all of them at this point. And then we've got a busy launch schedule coming up, but mostly sounding rockets. So I'll entertain any questions if you have any.
Anybody? Denise?
No, not necessarily a question, just a comment to the new hires. Welcome. You've got what I feel is the best of a supervisor here, and I know he only hires the best of the best. So, personally, you've got all my confidence. I've been on that side of it and used to run quite a bit, so I know what it's like. But welcome and be safe out there.
Thank you for that.
Anybody else? All righty. Thank you. Give them a minute. I think some of them are working.
They can stay if they like.
I'm sure they would.
One back watching on TV.
That's all right.
Good night.
All right, next up is the committee report for budget and personnel, and I am, Chris, are you still here?
Yeah, I have nothing to report. We're dealing with this later in the meeting.
Roger that. I hear you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes from our March 4th council meeting.
Second.
Motion is second.
Second, I'm sorry.
You good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next up, Mary Esther. She's worked hard.
That one's
Am I
stuck.
going to
I'm
this one?
sorry. The new one is not
It doesn't like
cooperating with
mine.
the cast on, at least on PowerPoint, so.
And everybody, look over here.
Okay, so we're going to start with what's been going on in March over at the center. We had a very busy month. So in the month, the center was used 17 out of 31 days. We had 2 art classes, hosted the law enforcement lunch, Virginia Tourism Corporation, Ducks Unlimited dinner. We had Hop Around the Bunny Trail for the elementary school. Benelli USA had their rally. We had a job fair and bingo for the Island Community House. So just showing you, we did a wool felting, class. We made all these little Easter bunnies. And then Madison at Island Roots did the succulent dish garden for Easter. We had a bunch of people for that. Ducks Unlimited, I believe it was 230 people there for that. Made probably the most money they've ever made. Had a big turnout for that. The Hop Around the Bunny Trail, the elementary school did practically everything. They set up, they had crafts, they had things for kids to do. Each one of the classes made their own little paper mache eggs, and they made this beautiful balloon arch. So the job fair, we had 84 people that came looking for jobs. We had 20 businesses that participated. A couple people didn't show up, but the rain was horrible. It poured all day. So I was pretty happy with the 84 job seekers that we had. Unfortunately, a lot of them were 14 to 15-year-olds, so Tyler couldn't hire any of them. That's all of that. Mike's going to turn on the Virginia Tourism Commission. First off, I want to say something too about Public Works. None of these events would be happening if it wasn't for the Public Works guys. They come over, whether they want to or not. They come over and they move tables, they move chairs. March, it's been just about every day they had to move, rearrange, and they do it. They don't complain about it. And a big thank you to your guys. So this is the 2024 Virginia Tourism Corporation Visitor Center Seminar. The town of Chincoteague and the Chamber of Commerce hosted it the week of March 12th through 14th. So a little bit about the seminar. Usually there's like 100 people. They are all from welcome centers and visitor centers across the Commonwealth. I believe, Evelyn, was it 10 hours away was the farthest one that came.
Yeah, she
Bristol,
was the mayor
that's right.
of Bristol. And it was race weekend. I'm surprised she came.
It was a good crowd. It was 96 people that attended. And for the most part, this is kind of what they do. They, talk about best practices, learn new marketing things. The locality has to set up a tour for them, which we did, and firsthand looked at new tourism products, and then they do all kinds of planning strategies for statewide goals and programs. So in order to be selected for this, you do have to supply letters of interest in hosting the seminar from your organization. The DMO, which is the Chamber of Commerce, actually had to submit the itinerary. I developed the itinerary. Evelyn and Joanne beefed it up, and then they sent it in. You have to have supportive letters from regional tourism partners, and we had one from the mayor, Mr. Sabatini at Eastern Shore of Virginia Tourism Commission. Fire Company gave me one, CCA, and also National Park Service did that. As you can see, cost-saving options for Virginia Tourism Commission that would help to reduce their costs. We did do the discounted room rates, and we had all the meals sponsored. So pre-event activities. So on Tuesday, a lot of them got here on Monday. Tuesday, we had these lined up. I contacted everyone to see if they would do these complimentary, and they were. So they did, some of them, 24, attended the Step Through Time tour with Cindy Faith, who walked them through town, and some of them went down to the BB Ranch as well. Scott Landholt and Daisy's Island Cruises offered the Martha Lou up, and they took a boat tour around the island. It was 38 people that went on that. And the best ice cream in the USA. The Island Creamery gave everyone tickets for one free scoop of ice cream. So some of them did that and shopped as well. So Steamers and Steve Cassettos. I can't say enough about him. He volunteered to feed everyone, all 96 people, at his cost on the day that they were closed, on a Tuesday. So we had a private dinner party. And the group was welcomed by Mayor Leonard and Chamber Director Evelyn. And we had Councilman Savage was there, and multiple Chamber board members were also in attendance. It was great. And then the study tour day, that was on Wednesday. This is what I did. I set up a whole itinerary for them. I can't thank Billy King, our trolley director, enough. He was working with the RPT, which is Department of Rail and Public Transportation, to allow us to use the trolleys to drive the people around for this day. And DRPT agreed to let us do that. And these are the trolley drivers. I want to thank the Chamber for giving everybody T-shirts. They wore them proudly and drove us around all day. It was great. So stop one, I had them over at the Assateague Island Visitor Center, the Toms Cove Visitor Center. So everybody was picked up at 8:15, and they had the opportunity to walk out on the beach. Some of them went into the visitor center, and some of them did both. Donna Leonard and Cindy Faith were the two tour guides that I had on the trolleys for that, and they did amazing. So stop two, they stopped at the Assateague Lighthouse. Laura Wilkerson allowed us to drive the trolleys up to the service road, the access road, and let us drop people off there instead of making them walk up the hill. Next stop was over at the visitor center. Some of them walked over, some of them drove on the trolley, but they opened to us as well. They were not open to the public, but they opened for us. And then they went to the museum. Cindy Faith, I'm sure, I wasn't there, but I know Cindy must have taken them all through and did a little tour through there. They bought a lot of stuff and got to view a lot of our history and things like that. Then all 4 trolleys met for lunch, at Don's in town. Tommy had his chicken and dumplings and all the fixins. He talked a little bit about aquaculture, answered questions that some of the people had. And then after that, everyone went down to the love chairs. It was really fun. So while half of the group was going to Assateague Island, the other half went to NASA. We couldn't fit all 96 people at one time, so I split them up into 2. And then at lunch, we all met back together and then just switched. So the other group went over to the mainland, and Mayor Leonard was on one trolley, and our representative, Mr. Billy Joe Tarr, was on the other trolley. And the first stop we went to was Rocket Lab. I can't say enough. If you've never had the opportunity to go to Rocket Lab, you should try to go over there. They wouldn't allow any cameras, no phones in the building, but they took us into the control room, all the communications, everything, got to see all of that. And also the rocket that was launched on March the 20th was being assembled in the hangar. I was amazed that these rockets are built with a 3D printer. I did not know that. They're made of carbon fiber. They told us lots and lots of information about all that. Rachel Harley arranged that tour for us, and it was very informative to everyone. Then we picked up Rebecca Hudson and Shirley LaPole, and they took us out to Wallops Island. We saw the launch pads, the water towers, different buildings. I love the picture there, if you can see down the bottom, the moon ahead and the International Space Station. You can see kind of the road where they drive up the rockets. That's where they drive up to land on the launch pad, and the launch pad is right beside the water tower there. And then the third stop was over at the Visitor Center. Miss Janet Heaton was very welcoming to everyone. She had packets for everybody, handed them out. People did a lot of shopping over there at the little gift store and did a bunch of exploration over there. Then we all came back here, and my own child, I have to give him kudos. Aiden drove home from Williamsburg for the evening just to do this tour for me, just to do the talk, and then he drove back. So we all had a little talk about the ponies on Assateague. He talked about the roundups, the care the fire company provides to them, and also talked a little bit about how the island benefits economically from all the people that visit. And the last stop of the day, we took everyone over to the Refuge Inn for a meet and greet of our ponies. This gentleman is a firefighter from Matthews, I believe. Brian met him. I took him over to the firehouse. He wanted to see the equipment we had over there. His girlfriend actually was attending the seminar, but he wanted to see a little bit about things over here. So he went over, but yeah, he posed for the picture. And that lasted for, I don't know, probably 45 minutes. We handed out pony food to everybody, and people were just so happy about that. Then Thursday was the seminar day. So they have one day of touring, and the second day they have their own seminars. They did like virtual reality talks. They did a Civil War history trail talk. We had Virginia's 250th celebration, which is coming up in 2026. Started planning that already. And then this man, I think we all know, lunch was started with a raw oyster buffet. So Mike McGee from Chincoteague Shellfish brought 2 bushels of oysters, and Mr. Jones, and the 2 of them shucked oysters for everyone. And did a lot of instruction as well. Showed people how to shuck oysters. Some of them would shuck them, would not eat them. And just the opposite. So I want to thank Jay also for being there. Jay's serving there. We're going to put a little apron on him next time. Yeah, it was really interesting. Then part 2 of lunch, Bill's Prime made a bunch of different things. Small little container. That's a little pot, actually. It has chili in it. The Chicken City chili and the cornbread, I think, was probably everyone's favorite. He also made some barbecue and all kinds of stuff that was yummy. Then the Channel Bass made this pie that was to die for. It had lemon curd and buttercream topping. The chamber did the lunch. And then we had some exhibitors also set up in the classrooms at the center. The CCA did the one over on the left. They had bags and different information about what goes on at the CCA. Miranda was there for the fire company. She had to make 2 or 3 trips back to the fire company to get more supplies because they were quite popular. And then we had Mr. Mayor carving his decoys. I think that was pretty popular. He had a lot of people ask questions. And I also had the lady from the Barrier Island Center come up here, Megan. She talked a little bit about what they have to offer since the majority of them are going south. When they left here, we figured, they could stop in there on the way down. And those were the love letters that they put up at the chamber circle. A lot of these pictures came from Joanne and Evelyn because I was too busy doing things, but Joanne was on the spot taking pictures. So that's all I have. You guys have any questions?
Go ahead, Denise.
So is this seminar, they have every year in different places? Is that how it
Once
works?
a year, and you have to not bid, but you have to turn in proposals, and then there's a group of people that select where it's going to be.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's probably not conceivable that you would win it again the next year, right?
You probably wouldn't, and you probably wouldn't want to,
Right.
because there are so many other
Right.
centers that want to show off their area.
Right.
too. We did it in 2015.
Well, that was kind of where I was getting to. Wonder how long in between before you could, possibly.
Well,
So
we'll
it's about
tell you
9
this.
years.
Several years ago, Sharon Davis told me that. She said people want to come back to Chincoteague. She said they, whenever you want to, try for it, to do it again, they would love to come back. So I don't know. I mean, I'd give it a couple of years anyway. I mean, you could apply for it every year, but I don't think you get it every year.
Yeah.
Just because.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
It is.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
It is, and I don't know that we could do it every year.
No, it's a lot of work. Make me tired.
Mary Esther had. Can I say a couple words?
Sure.
While
I'm
we're
sorry.
talking? Mary Esther had already. You don't have to go. Mary Esther had already started the ball rolling on this. She had already put together the itinerary and talked to everybody and set everything up. And she said, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to get this visitor center somewhere." And I said, "Well, I don't think the chamber has to put that in. We have to apply for that." So, send it in. So she said, "Okay." So, like I said, she had done the itinerary part, so she had done the hard part. So we just sent it in, got added a few things to it, sent it to them, and it was accepted. So I just give her lots and lots of credit. It was just, and it worked. Everything ran, I think, very smoothly.
It couldn't have gone any better.
You may know
I had
otherwise,
slated
but,
were right on the money.
we were actually ahead of schedule a lot of times, and that just does not happen when you have tourism people, because we like to talk and we like to dawdle and we like to, it's like herding cats. So, but I got this in the mail today, and it's from Gary Jeffrey. He's with Virginia Tourism Corporation, and he said, "Evelyn team and partners, walk-off, grand slam, home run. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the amazing hospitality you showed everyone. Everyone was talking about when they were going to come back." So these were the people that attended. Now they're going to go to all their centers and tell everybody that comes through their doors what a great time. I mean, who gets to go to a seminar and feed ponies? I mean, who gets to go and see a rocket being built that's going to go up in a couple of days?
Or shuck oysters.
Or shuck oysters, So, well, you might could do that in some other places in America. But
They don't taste as good.
no, they don't.
So
It was great.
So what I was getting to is, it's conceivable that it can come back here again at whatever time.
Absolutely.
It's been in Virginia Beach, I think, a few times.
They usually.
In the
Years ago, when we applied for it, we'd always been told and kind of felt that, they like to do it in a place a conference center, where you stay, you have your food, you have your seminar, everything happens in that one building, except for the touring part, except for the fan part, where you go out and you visit a brewery, or you have a reception at some big swanky whatever they have. When we were in Norfolk one year, we went out on the Spirit of Norfolk, had a little dinner cruise out there. So your town that you're in shows off whatever assets they have that they want you know about, that you're going to tell people about. And so we knew we couldn't do all that in one building because our conference center was not a hotel and was, we would have to split it all up, but we knew we could do it. So in 2015, we didn't have the trolleys available to use. So Virginia Space at that time paid for charter buses. We had 2 or 3 charter buses that they paid for to carry us around to do the fan part of it. So it can be done. It can be done in a small town. Yeah.
Mary Esther, as far as the center itself is concerned, I've probably said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I'm so thankful to see this center being used for what it was built for, and you're doing a fantastic job
Thank you. I'm trying.
with putting things together. I love seeing stuff pop up on Facebook saying this is happening at the center and this is happening, and people are talking about it. They're out there talking about it. So it's good to see that building being used as it was intended to be used. Thank you.
Always in the month of March.
It's always in March. It's usually about the third week. And this year we had to bump it up a week because they had a big VA 250 conference that they all had to go to the week that we would have liked to have had it. So we moved it up, had to move it up a week.
I remember the trail buses, the trailways and all them buses. I remember them being out here.
Yeah, so we did, and we had I think that year we might have had the seminar part. I think we had that up in the upstairs at what was Jack's spot then. I believe we had the seminar part there. We came over to the center, but I think we had the seminar part there. We had something over at the Wildlife Refuge in the auditorium there. We had some sort of a reception thing there in 15. So, you try to show them everything. And so it's a collaboration from the town and all of the partners, the National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife, NASA, all of those. They were just great. And no one
turned me down. No one turned me down.
So
we had to replan everything when they switched weeks, but
right.
That wasn't too bad.
But thank you all for the support, and it was Mary Esther did a super job, and we really enjoyed working with her on that, and glad that she got the ball rolling to make it happen. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
It was a busy week, I know that, sure. All right. Next up is to consider the renewal of the pump and haul agreement. Mr. Talbert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The original pump and haul agreement was done in March, and this is for White Raven's Nest on Maddox Boulevard. It was done in March of 2022. It was a 2-year agreement, so it is up for renewal. The signatories there are the owners of White Raven's Nest, the property owner, the town, and the contractor that is listed as the go-to for all of pumping and hauling. All signatories have agreed that they want to renew the agreement. The only thing that will change on the agreement is the dates. It's a 2-year renewal. All the same stipulations apply, the bond, the maintenance agreement, everything is identical to the previous agreement. So we would bring it back to the council and ask for a vote to renew or not.
Question, is the bond already in place?
Yes, sir.
They don't have to do a new bond, right? I mean, the bond is...
I'll have to, I'm not sure.
I think the bond is for till you take it off.
Unless it had a limitation, an expiration date on it, and that I don't know, but we'll find out. That's a requirement for the agreement to be valid, so we'd have to, before we signed it, we'd have to make sure it was either the same bond.
That's a bond the town has to release anyway, right?
Excuse me?
It's a bond that the town would have to release anyway?
Yes.
Because I've got a bond with the town.
It would become null and void with the agreement.
Right, yeah.
Any other discussion? Pleasure of council?
I'll make a motion to renew the fucking haul agreement.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, thank you. Let's see. Next up is to consider is that PPEA and the
PPEA, PPTA.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is a 1995, and I'll give you a little bit of the background of this, the State of Virginia passed the Public-Private Transportation and Public-Private Education Acts in 1995. Basically, these acts grant responsible public entities the authority to create public-private partnerships for a wide range of different developments. This is not something that we have an immediate need for, but if we put this in place, it is something that we could use on short notice to do projects around the island or obtain property, and there's a lot of things we could do with it. It's used all the time. And in order to use it, as I said, we have to have already adopted the guidelines. The guidelines are very structured. They're basically the guidelines that come straight from the Code of Virginia. Our attorneys have been through them and tuned them up to customize them for the town of Chincoteague, and we would ask you to approve these so we'd have them on file, and it'll be another tool in our toolbox to use when the time comes, or if the time comes.
Any questions, Mike, about this? Pleasure of council. Don't argue over it.
Second. I didn't.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear.
He made a motion to
Oh,
approve.
Yeah, okay, second.
Motion by Councilman Savage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he started and stopped. Anyway. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve of the PPEA and the PPTA guidelines. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all. All right, moving along, the final adjustments for the FY 25 budget. Mr. Talbot?
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. And we are moving this to a regular council meeting because we did not have the workshop meeting in March. This is the third draft of the budget, the FY 25 budget. The second draft ended with a surplus in three of the funds. In the general fund was $174,000 in the negative. The third iteration or third draft of the budget took some suggestions from the Budget Personnel Committee and reallocated some of the personnel costs, primarily in Center, Public Works, and Harbor. Reallocating those costs away from the general fund and to those enterprise funds themselves. I also reallocated or allocated for the first time insurance costs to those enterprise funds, which helped reduce it more. As it stands right now, general fund still has a $118,000 imbalance in the negative, and I have made a suggestion here on how to account for that. To bring the general fund in balance, I would suggest that we remove the new CPD vehicle at $60,000, remove the property acquisition reserve, which was $50,000, and remove the plane stabilizer cabinet for $8,000. This totals exactly $118,000 and brings us into balance in all of the funds for the budget. As you know, they all have to balance independently. I would make that recommendation to council to achieve a completely balanced budget for FY 25.
And just that last line there, all three expenditures could be reinserted in the spring.
Yes, thank you for reminding me that. But
With-
yes, if
and
we have a
I've just watched Tyler get knocked right over his eyeballs.
Smoke coming out.
Yeah.
we did discuss this earlier, but yes. Yeah,
He's
if we-
saying no.
If we have a surplus in FY 25, then those all three could be put back in. And
Yeah,
that's-
there should be funds available through Public Safety Committee, because they're to
Well, if you remember, we hit the public safety fund
Pretty hard.
for personnel.
Oh, yeah.
stuff. Is,
We'll talk about it.
we'll get it.
We'll get it.
I will say this, all of the police cars we have now, old and new, are on the road and operating.
Yes, they are.
So we are in better shape than we have been since I've been here, at least. And this is a vehicle, the suggestions I've made is a vehicle to get us to a balanced budget, which, as you know, we have to have before we vote, or before you vote on that. And this does that. We've been very fortunate in the last several years in that at the end of the year, in May or June, we have had some surpluses to work with and been able to reinstall capital projects. And unless something drastic happens, I would expect FY25 to be no different.
Any questions on this? Chris, you have anything?
No, I think it looks good. I commend the staff for the job they've done. I'll make a motion that we approve these changes.
No second. Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Appreciate it, Mike.
If I could as well, now that the proposed budget for FY25 is balanced, I need a vote to go ahead and advertise that budget for public hearing. And that public hearing will happen at the April 18th workshop meeting. As you know, we have to have an advertisement. It has to be advertised for at least 7 days by state code. And then after the public hearing on the 25th, it has to sit at least 7 days before the council could vote to approve it. So that timeline works. If we advertised it in Friday's newspaper, then the 18th would be within that time frame to go ahead and do the budget presentation and public hearing. And then another 7 days brings us to the May 6th regular meeting in which the budget could be approved and appropriated.
Make a motion to do that.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all. Next up is to consider naming a private road. Talbot?
Yes, sir. As you know, there's some new homes going up just over on East Side, not far from Church Street. The developer of those new homes, at least part of them, first, the four on the south side, has developed a road going back to service 3 of those 4 structures and has asked that the road be named Clarkson Lane. We told them that this would have to come before council. It does not. We do have a Clark Street. There is no Clarkson Lane or Clarkson Street. And,
What's the name of the subdivision gonna be?
East side.
Yeah, it's got there's a sign out there that says
Okay.
something to East Side, the bend to East Side or curve to East Side or something like that.
And the east side.
I make a motion to approve it Clarkson Lane.
Second.
Motion to approve, seconded. All those in favor of naming it Clarkson Lane, say aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all.
But Mr. Mayor, I think, Mr. Talbot, correct me, it does not fall underneath the responsibility of the town of Shinnecock, is that correct?
It does not.
There's no.
that's correct. This
This is
road
private.
would not be constructed nor maintained. It's not going to be built to
VDOT.
VDOT standards, so we will not take it into inventory, and the town of Shinnecock will not be responsible for construction on it.
But we will
Brown
give them a
sign.
brown sign.
Brown sign.
We will give them a brand sign, yes, sir, now that the council has approved this.
Yes.
Alrighty. Next up is mayor and council comments. Ms. Richardson,
No, sir.
Denise?
My Yankees are 4-0. Have a good night.
Vice Mayor Bott?
Nothing on this end, thank you.
Billy?
No, I just want to say congratulations again to Mary Astor and the chamber and Evelyn on what they did with the visit and the tour. It was really great. Good job.
Jim Wayne?
So Evelyn, there's a reason you had so many people at the show. It was a really good show. I mean, the vendors, it was nice. And then, like you say, it was great seeing kids interested, and they were really, really were interested,
They wanted sharp knives.
Yes, I know that.
They didn't get them either.
We're gonna have to figure something out there, but yeah, but they'll be back. And like you said, the same thing with the people. They, like you say, they all want it. Like I said, they're not coming back next year because they got to go somewhere else. But they want to be back. That's what you want to hear from everybody, and then all of our employees, and your people, that you make it so that they want to come back, and that's and like Aiden said, don't think I'm just trying to lift up Aiden here. Brian can tell you this: we have to have the same staffing in the winter or off months that we do it. Am I right or wrong? And who pays for that? The people who want to come here. Yeah, people say, what do we get? We get year-round paramedics for our elderly population, which I am that too, so I don't think I'm saying that because I'm in that category. But guess what? If those people didn't come and visit in the winter, it'd be really, really hard to pay that staff at the way it's staffed now without them. So we definitely need them.
Thank you, Dean. Okay.
Just Mary Esther and Evelyn and Joanne, and everyone else who participated. Great job on that, on the tourism commission visit and so forth. That's all I have.
All righty. Just a couple things on my end. I wanted to announce that the refuge, the town, Park Service has been doing a bi-weekly refuge meeting. They're not, nothing's being done. We're planning to move the parking lots. The refuge has been given some money for planning, so we are meeting to meet the new requirements. They don't want to infringe upon the wetlands, so we're having to go back in and redesign the parking lots up north, and we're doing bi-weekly meetings. Is it one this week, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Thursday at 2 o'clock. If anybody would like to come, they're by Zoom over in the meeting room. They last about an hour, and it's close to watching paint dry. And they've got it set up. It's the federal government, so they've got it set up in stages. They're going to give us plans that are 25% at first, then 50, and by the time we get done, probably in 2027, they'll give us 90, and then the cost will be so high we won't do anything anyway. So, but we are doing that just to let everybody know. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple people from the citizenry. One of them did a lot of work for the town. He was on the BZA for a long time. Donnie Ray Thornton passed away. And that, I mean, God only knows how long he's been on BZA. He was there when I was there. He was still on it, as far as I know. And we also lost Maureen Derrickson. She was at every basketball game, every baseball game. She spent a lot of time at the high school and Little League and wherever there were kids playing ball. And on Denise's thing, my beloved Alabama, there's another sport besides football. Unbelievable. And we're in the Final Four. No, I'm sorry, Elite Eight for basketball, not the Final Four. Thinking ahead. So roll tide. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session according to 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia for the purpose of personnel.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adios. Thanks for coming.